Hello and welcome to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast. I am your host, Ryan Gilbert, and joining me is my co-host, Joe DeMarini. Joe, how we doing here? It's September. It's hockey season.
Oh, baby. I am so excited. It was like legitimately cold when I woke up this morning, and I'm like, finally, it's fall. Was able to wear pants instead of shorts for a change. I'm not a shorts guy, really, so I'm glad to be back in like pants season, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but stoked for some preseason hockey, I think we get before the month is out.
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Oh,
Got
yeah.
rookie series coming up next weekend, I believe. And I think those are against the Rangers Friday and Saturday.
Well, there's the rookie showcase as well.
Yeah, the rookie showcase. That's what I'm talking about. Wait,
Oh,
what's the
no,
rookie showcase?
all NHL rookies are on like a couple teams for an exhibition, like
Oh,
exhibition
is that
games,
that's the
right?
thing that's the thing that Fedotov and Michkov are at?
That's the thing that they're gonna do, yeah.
I didn't realize there were games there.
I think they're kind of like they're just an exhibition match, so it's not
Okay.
super fiercely competitive. Like Matt Rempe is participating for the
Of course he
Rangers,
is.
so we all know that he's just gonna cross-check Mishkov in the head, and then that's the end of it right there, you know?
Yeah, apparently
Uh,
that's on Wednesday, September 4th. So
mhm.
coming up
That's
today,
tomorrow.
unfortunately. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah,
So
amazing.
yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that. Top of the show here. Make sure you are subscribed to the
Mhm.
Broad Street Hockey Podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, also on YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, beautiful day today. Took a walk. It was hot, and then I came home. I was on my deck. It's shaded. It was like a little
Oh,
chilly. It's one of those days where you know what you put a jacket on in the morning, you dress for layers and whatnot, and then
it's beautiful.
hockey's in the air, fall is in the air.
Oh, yes, it is.
All right, not easy to talk about, not easy to transition to
No,
this,
speaking of
but
hockey, we have to
yeah,
address
yeah,
Mr.
first time
Hockey.
recording here since the tragedy on Thursday evening. Friday morning, it was officially announced that Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew passed away due to a drunk driver hitting them while they were cycling, having a bike ride, just going out for a bike ride with his brother on the
Mhm.
eve of their sister's wedding. And from a celebration to tragedy, I mean, everything that you comes out about it, like just seeing everyone talking about Johnny Gaudreau. Like I was texting a friend about it. He's like, yeah, there's never been such a beloved star player this young to die during this. Like
Mhm.
his Matthew Gaudreau's wife has a baby on the way. Like just
Their
everything you,
first, like,
yeah.
it's just horrifying. Like, as the day went on and more news came out about what had happened, right? Like, in town for the wedding, uh, Johnny Gaudreau's kid is, like, 6 months old, and then his brother's got a baby on the way. Like, it was just one gut punch after another, and then, like, the details of how the accident occurred, where it was just a two-lane road, and this drunk driver was trying to speed around some cars past them on the left, and then those cars moved over to give the bike space, and then this guy tried to pass them on the right and just hit them. I it's just shocking negligence, and I, yeah, it's take your time when you're driving, folks. Like, it's not that hard to do. You're gonna get where you're going. Like, slow down, share the road. It's not that hard to do, and you can avoid stupid, just unnecessary deaths like this. And Columbus has dealt with this tragedy before, just a few years ago. Their
Yeah.
goaltender, Mats Kilnievics, sorry if I didn't say that right, who died in a fireworks accident a few years ago. So I cannot imagine being one of the veterans on that team and walking into the locker room on the first day of training camp, and having to go through all this again, especially because they're such a young team.
Mhm.
So, you know, big thoughts with the Gaudreau family, because it was devastating. I'm normally not affected by like celebrity deaths, but this one hit real hard.
Yeah, same. Just reckless driving completely, like Joe just said. Take your time out there. Give bikes the road. Sometimes it could be annoying, but it's safe. Like you're
Yeah.
driving a a ton vehicle. Like you can give away, and yeah, like everything that came out. The Blue Jackets are dealing with this. Seeing Kevin Hayes post and then his
Oh
story about
God.
it.
Yeah.
Seeing Sean Monahan was on What Chaos just like a few days
Day
before that,
before.
talking about how excited he was to go to Columbus and play with Gaudreau again. Seeing all these pictures, the video of Voracek at the skills competition from I think 2015.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's just like
That was
there's
my first time. That was the first time I'd seen that.
yeah, I mean, it's just so many great moments for him, and it's really unfortunate that he won't be able to have any more. So earlier today, Blue Jackets are holding a candlelight vigil on Wednesday night at 7:30.
Oh
Gonna,
yeah.
gonna do a 13-minute, 21-second moment of silence, remembrance in honor of Gaudreau, wore 13 at Boston College, and
Mhm.
in the NHL, obviously, and Matthew Gaudreau wore number 21. I'm not sure if you read the piece about how like Johnny was like, all right, Matt, pick where we're going to college, wherever you want to go. And then he was like,
Mhm.
Matt wanted to go to Boston College because Johnny wanted to go to Boston College. Like it
Yep.
was, and I think Matt's the younger brother, but like he was
Mhm.
always the kind of leading the way. So it's just everything you read, everything you see about it's just tragic, and thoughts and everything to the Gaudreau family,
Yep.
everyone affected by this.
Yeah. I mean, he's a local guy, right? They're local
Yeah,
kids, you know?
yeah, the Hollydale Ice Arena where his dad owns, that was like 10-15 minutes from where I grew up, like just the town over. Like I would there was a roller skating rink right by there that I would go to like weekly when I was a kid. So it's just yeah, really close to home. Obviously, Flyers fan, big Eagles fan. We've seen all those
Oh
posts.
yeah.
Like he was supposed to come home at one point and finish his career as a Flyer, maybe lift the
Yeah.
cup, but just really sad.
The Sean Moynihan stuff too. Apparently, I think it was Moynihan convinced Gaudreau to get the same breed of dog as him because Moynihan's dog loved Johnny Gaudreau so much, and he was like, "Dude, you got to get the same. You got to get the same breed of dog." Um, and during the one of the tributes, so fans were leaving, flowers and whatnot out in front of the arenas. Someone in Columbus on the cannon crew, because in Columbus, when they score a goal, they fire off the cannon. It's like their goal horn, kind of,
Yeah.
Um, they wrote "The Cannon loved you," signed the Cannon crew. And if I recall correctly, one of the things Gaudreau said when he first got there was like, "I hate the Cannon; it scares me." So to see the Cannon crew come through like that was really quite nice. But
Yeah, there was that clip going around of Gaudreau when he was with the Flames in Columbus because they do the cannon before the game and like him just getting scared by it, and then of course he ended up signing there. Yeah, I
yep.
saw there's outside of the Saddle Dome in Calgary, there's like someone painting this great Gaudreau thing that they want to like auction off for charity and whatnot. So a lot of
The Calgary Memorial was unreal. That was enormous. There was so much stuff on those steps. Like the whole front sidewalk was chalk. Like
mhm.
that was beautiful. I think the Flames posted it on their Twitter. So if you get the chance, go take a look at that. It is really quite moving.
Yeah, check out everything out there. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff I haven't even seen, but just like all of his teammates, anyone that played with him, played against him, just like no one seemed to have a bad word to say about him at all, even when he was playing. Like it's not just
Yeah.
like people saying, "Oh, he was a great guy." He was a great guy. He was Johnny Hockey. Like he was just this little small hockey player that was able to make a big impact.
Yeah. There's the push to rename the Lady Bing the Johnny Gaudreau. Because he embodied it. I think he
Yeah,
won it once, didn't he?
he did
He
win it.
did.
I looked that up. Yeah, he did win it one year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah, he should have something named after him just because just this, you know, a star player, beloved by everyone. Like, yeah, just
mhm.
yeah. Like even Oilers fans, like in the Battle of Alberta, that they like respected him and liked him. And it's rare for Edmonton fans to I think just like a Ginla and Gaudreau is like the two I read about.
So bringing up the Battle of Alberta, the 21-22 playoffs, like the 21-22 season was the first season that I really paid attention to hockey outside the Flyers or started like watching other teams. And I remember staying up late to watch the round one Battle of Alberta between Calgary and Edmonton that season. Because it was the last ride for Elias Lindholm, Matt Tkachuk, and Johnny Gaudreau as the top line of that Flames team. And I just remember, man, what a fun playoff series that was. I feel like the first game was like 7-6 final score. It was just wild, just goals everywhere. And that was before the summer where Gaudreau signed in Columbus and Kachuk got traded to Florida. But I remember watching those games and being like, man, this is fucking awesome. this is really good. So yeah, he was, as a Flame, he was one of the first West Coast teams I remember like paying attention to and being like, damn, this guy's good.
Yeah,
East Coast bias, you know.
East Coast USA bias, but yeah, that Calgary team was definitely fun there.
I know how quickly they fell apart though, but you know, you lose 2 star players, that's kind of what happens.
Yeah.
But they were never beating Colorado that year anyway. Let's be real.
No, the Avs were stacked up that year, no matter what, even with a bad goalie. But yeah, you know, thoughts to the Gaudreau family. There's a GoFundMe out there for Madeline and Matthew's unborn child. Trip, I think is his name. So
Trip Gaudreau. Yep.
Give to that. Share that. We'll include that in the show notes as well, in case you guys haven't checked that out.
Yeah, a lot of people donating values of his or Matt's number. So 13, 13, 21, 21, 13, that kind of stuff. So it's cute. But we don't want to dwell on this for the whole episode. So, you know, it's going to be a heavy cloud over everyone this season. I'm sure whenever Columbus goes to play a game anywhere, they're going to have to, like, there's probably going to be a memorial or a tribute for those teams when they go play away games. So yeah, we'll be talking about it throughout the year, I'm sure. But for now,
yeah, that's
miss you,
it there.
John.
Yeah, hard to transition out of that, but more hockey news. I believe it came out.
More hockey news.
More hockey news. Let's just move along here. Yeah, Torey Krug. I mean, this was pretty much assumed, but the Blues confirmed that he will miss the 2024-25 season. I think he has some sort of like arthritis in his like ankle or something, so he could just very well be done for his career. Yeah, this is relevant for Flyers because, of course, he stopped the trade from going through to Philadelphia with his no trade clause, as he is, you know, deserving to do. He has no trade clause.
Right.
He is signed for $6.5 million through 2027. I think he's like 32 years old now.
Yeah.
Travis Sanheim was in that deal. He signed for $6.25 million through 2031. So four more years. The reported trade was Kevin Hayes at 50% retained, which is what they traded, and Travis Sanheim for Krug, a first round pick, not really sure which one, and maybe a later round pick, which, like, it's interesting looking back on now, because I think by looking to trade Sanheim last offseason, they weren't looking to trade the player, obviously.
No.
They were looking more to trade the contract.
Yes.
But it also kind of, they're like, okay, if they were fine getting rid of Sanheim, I think it kind of showed their confidence in Cam York, maybe in Emil Andre, who they've kind of talked up this offseason as well. But Sanheim, I mean, he's played the right side. He's grown with York. So, I mean, he might not be a top 4 defenseman in 2030 when his contract's almost up. But, you know, through these next few years, he's definitely playing up to it, I would say.
Yeah. He had a pretty good first half of last season until he got injured, which is the story of the entire blue line, until everybody got hurt and the wheels came off. But no, I can see why the Flyers targeted Krug too. Like, he's that veteran presence that they probably have been trying to, like, keep in the room and stuff to help the younger players develop. I think it came out too after the trade got nixed by Torey Krug, that they had a meeting with Sanheim and they're like, look, this isn't anything personal against you. This is just, you have an 8-year contract coming up and we're a rebuilding team. This is the first year of your 8-year contract. Like, we're not in a position to, you know, keep you around for the duration of this contract. But we like you as a player. And I think Sanheim had also worked it out with Torts after Torts scratched him at a hometown game. And then, yeah. But hey, another great case study of, like, you can get back in Torts' good graces. Like, even if you guys have a scrap, you can work it out with him. Um, it's funny you bring up York too, because I don't know why it popped into my head today. But I was thinking back to the one game that Sanheim missed because he was sick, and Cam York was on the top pair with Rasmus Ristolainen. It was against the Detroit Red Wings, and the Flyers won 1-0 off a Cam York goal. And it was like the best game he'd played all season. It was also Ristolainen's most fantastic game. Like it was like a career highlight game for Risto. But it got me thinking about how, as decent of a pair as York and Sanheim are together, I think that Sanheim is more like ready to jump into the play. He's more ready to move up. He's more ready to activate from the blue line. Cam York doesn't quite, I don't know if he's reticent, like maybe he's like a little like unsteady, a little less confident to do so, or if he just doesn't see the play as quickly, like developing as quickly. And by the time he does, Sanheim's already up. So York has to cover the blue line. So the fact that York was so noticeable in that game when his partner was Rasmus Ristolainen, because Risto is like never gonna, he's never moving up, man. That's not his game. It just was, it's just interesting to me. And I'd like to see York maybe play with one of the more stay at home, quote unquote, defensemen and see what he's able to do with that, that kind of partner this season. But anyway,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, but no, that's a good Flyers related tangent. Like the Flyers, their defense right now. I mean, Sanheim, like you said, does seem to want to kind of step up. He's also fine defensively, decent two-way guy. Drysdale is really the one where they're gonna need a stay-at-home defenseman with him. Like maybe it does turn out to be York. I mean, I know people thought York was a offensive defenseman, like when they drafted him. He had a bunch of points for the U.S. national team, but like he's proven to be a good two-way defenseman, maybe even just maybe a shutdown defenseman, not a stay-at-home defenseman, but like he could be that 1A, 1B. That Flyers don't have a 1A right now defenseman, but maybe a solid number 2 who can work well with a Drysdale or with the Sanheim.
He
So
blocks shots like a machine, man. It was crazy.
Yeah. So I'm not sure which stay-at-home defenseman you would pair him with, though. I guess maybe Risto, but then who do you pair Zamula with? Yeah, if they want to move Sealer to the right side, but I think they'd rather have Sanheim on the right side with then Drysdale and Risto as the other right defenseman, and then on the left side, York, Sealer, Zamula. They also have Eric Johnson too. Like they could do like a York Johnson pairing if there's injuries or if they end up trading Risto.
Please.
Is there a defenseman I'm forgetting about besides? I mean, they have Ginning and Adder could stay up, but
Andre.
Yeah.
They got choices. They got options.
They do have options. They got
options. I just hope that they don't do with York what they did with Sanheim, which is like the first game of the season announces contract extension. But
yeah,
got some time.
But yeah, going back to the Krug thing, like people are saying like, oh, Flyers dodged a bullet. Other side people saying, oh, this could have been good for the Flyers, good for the tank. Have the cap room there, put him on FTIR, another Ryan Ellis situation. They would have got a first round pick in that deal, which everyone loves a first round pick to try to, get a top of the line player. But I mean, hindsight's 2020, and
we should talk about that first round pick because I don't know if it's like that big of a deal. It would have been either New York's or Toronto's, which would have been 23rd. Oh, no. It wouldn't have been the Rangers. It would have been Toronto or who the hell else did they get their first round pick from? I don't remember. They had 3 first rounders in that draft, which is crazy. But
in which draft?
2023. It was a 2023 pick.
Oh, what? I didn't realize it was I forgot it was before last year's draft. Yeah.
Yes. No, it was going to be one of the picks in the 20s. So it either would have been 25th overall or 29th overall.
Maybe if they have 25, they take Perreault at 22 and hope Bonk falls to 25. They could have Perreault and Bonk.
I don't know. I still think that the Gauthier situation would have played into them not picking Perreault. Some interesting names there. Quentin Musty, Callum Ritchie, Easton Cowan. They might have been interesting. David Edstrom. who Vegas took at 32nd. Like there's
He just got traded to the Sharks, right?
he did just get traded to the Sharks as part of the Askarov deal.
Yeah.
So, there's there were a couple of interesting guys there, but nothing earth-shattering. Like if they drafted a defenseman with one of those picks, they probably would have been lucky if he turned into anything resembling Travis Sanheim right now. So, it would have been another draft pick and they would have cleared out from a 8-year contract. But look, I've said it a billion times. Travis Sanheim's got 3 years left with the full NMC, and then it's a modified no trade clause. If they want to or need to move him out in 3 seasons, they can. Like, just because he's got a 7 years remaining on his contract doesn't mean he's going to be here for all of them.
And the only way they would want to trade him is if either he's underperforming or the team's underperforming. And if he's performing fine and the team is underperforming, maybe he wants to go somewhere with a chance to win. Like I'm not sure exactly what the vibe is in the locker room. I know they have the Mojo Dojo Casa Joel there, but like he's in like we talked about it, like him, the Travi are kind of together. They go on couple of vacations together. Maybe Coots and Lawton's there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's a little bit older, kind of a veteran guy now in the room.
I mean, I think the only way they trade him is if the youth movement takes over and he just doesn't have a place. Like, it's not that he's bad and it's not that he's too good he can't be traded. He's just doesn't fit anymore. And, $6.25 million a year against the cap might not be that bad in a few years. That could be a pretty good fucking contract for a player of his caliber.
And after next season, they have all 3 of the retention slots after Hayes comes off the Bucks there. So we could talk about those retention slots. Your favorite
retention, baby.
Yeah, I do wonder if they did make that Sanheim trade to get another first round pick, if that would have led to maybe they trade Scott Lawton. Then they're like, okay, let's tear this down to the studs more than they did, which they didn't really do too much, trading only Provorov and Hayes, but like maybe that would have led to, okay, let's explore a Konechny trade. Let's explore a Lawton trade more and load up for picks in 2023, see what we can do in 2024, 2025. But they didn't. And I think they're on a good path here. I've seen articles, people say like, the rebuild might end sooner than you think. And I see that argument, but I also see like just because they're a competitive team doesn't mean the rebuild is over. Like you can make the playoffs a few years while you're still rebuilding. Like that they have a team that almost made the playoffs last year, arguably should have if they didn't just completely collapse. And they have the same team this year with Michkov instead of Atkinson. Everyone's a year older, and
Eric Johnson instead of Mark Stahl.
And yeah, the goalie situation is still kind of up in the air. But we should mention that the Flyers signed Eetu Makiniemi, Finnish goalie, to
PTO.
a PTO to training camp. It's probably isn't great for Kolosov, even though you probably can't read into it too much. He's 6'2", 25 years old, primarily played in the AHL last year, 900 save percentage. So gives him another body in camp in case Kolosov doesn't come over.
I don't think he's too old either, right? He's like 25, 26.
25, yeah, 25.
Yeah. So
yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
One thing you said about like if Sanheim, like the youth movement takes over, like I feel like it would, like Bonk maybe can make the team next year, maybe pushes for it this year.
Yeah.
He realistically takes Risto's spot and they trade Risto. I think it comes down to like Emil Andre, like depending on what his development is like. But they're also, I think, 2 different defensemen. Like Sanheim seems to be an all situations guy when Andre, maybe he's just a kind of a smaller offensive guy.
Yeah, PP2 kind of player maybe.
Because he is short, right? 5'9".
He's like 5'9", and he plays the left. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. They got a lot of defensemen, and there's only 6 spots, unless Torts decides to run 11-7 again for a third of the season. But
I'm for that. Like,
Why not?
especially with Draisaitl. Like Draisaitl could be the rover. They can mix and match with if they want to get Johnson in there, sure.
And
I'd
guess what
rather
that means? It means Nick Delorier is probably sitting.
exactly. I'd rather go 11-7 than 12-6 with Nick Delorier. With all due
Sure.
respect to Nick Delorier, like I'd rather have another defenseman out there.
Your fights rule, dude. But
yeah, we got Nick Seeler for that now.
And Garnet Hathaway.
And Garnet Hathaway, and they could throw it. I was looking at the Flyers Puckpedia page.
Oh,
their core right now, players locked up through 2028. Couturier, Tippett, Konechny, Farabee, Sanheim, and Nick Seeler, baby.
He only has 1 year left at that point.
No, that's his last year, yeah. But it's just
I love it.
Amusing to see.
I'm so here for the Seeler renaissance. Like they know he's a third pair dude. Like they're not deluding themselves. And that's fine. He's a fun third pair defenseman. Like I have no problem with him hanging around.
Yeah. How quickly after he retires is he given a job on the coaching staff? Like immediately? Like is it like, oh, Nick Seeler's retired. He is joining our staff as like a
I bet there's maybe going to be an opening on the Lehigh Valley Phantoms coaching staff by 2028.
Because Lappy's going to be
the head coach of the Flyers.
Behind the Flyers bench? Yeah. Exactly. There we go.
They'll put Seeler in for him.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It just makes sense.
All he has to do is block a shot with his face, and he's got that job locked up.
Has he not yet? I feel like Sealer's probably. JVR blocked a shot with his face once.
He did.
JVR's on the fast track. Or did he block it or did he deflect it?
Oh, wasn't it deflected like into his face or something?
He deflected it into the net. Like I think it was a goal. Like I think he got credit for the goal of the power play, but he also broke his jaw in the process. So
yeah,
I don't know if that counts.
Yeah. Other hockey news today, somewhat Flyers related, not really.
Not really.
Leon Draisaitl signed an 8-year extension.
The dream is dead.
Edmonton, $14 million AAV. Is that the highest in the league? What's Austin Matthews at?
13.25.
13.25. So yeah, Draisaitl was going to be a free agent next summer. He was my pipe dream 1C UFA for the Flyers.
You crazy bastard.
But yeah, he's off the board, unfortunately.
Thank God.
McDavid is still not re-signed, so he's an option. But
he can't re-sign yet, not till next summer.
No, yeah, he would have to sign next summer. But yeah, takes the free agent option off the board. I was looking at other free agent centers next year. You got like Tavares, you got Crosby, you got I think Giroux is next year.
He is.
Mikko Rantanen is next year, but he's more of a winger. So
yeah.
We'll see what happens there with the Flyers at 1C. I've been thinking.
Couldn't you say Draisaitl's a winger too because he plays on McDavid's wing sometimes?
No, I think he plays more at center though.
He plays 2C most of the time. I know. I'm just being difficult because I'm so glad the Flyers are not in a position where they might have to consider this. Thank God.
You wouldn't want to sign Leon Draisaitl?
No.
Oh, that's a take right there. I was unaware of that. Why not?
He is incredible at offense. He does not play defense like at all. And that's fine on an Edmonton Oilers team where you have like Connor McDavid and like such a good offensive team that it doesn't matter because you just have the puck all the time and you're always in the offensive zone. Flyers don't have that. Flyers don't even have the shell of that. They are like a rush-based team right now, and I don't know, man. He'd be really good with the Flyers. I'd love to see him setting up Mishkov, but at the same time, I think it would be foolish to try and bring him in as the 1C savior for the team. So
fair enough, but the counterpoint to that would be, the Oilers don't have the defense, but the Flyers are building that defense. Like the Flyers have, a solid top four defense. If they put them on a line with like Foerster and someone else solid defensively, like I feel like I don't know, Leon Draisaitl's I think severely underrated because he's on the same team as me.
Leon Draisaitl underrated. Wow.
People might say he's the 5th best player in the league, but he's probably the 2nd. Like it's not, oh, it's like Barkov underrated. Like point totals for
Oh,
Draisaitl last year: 106, 128,
mhm.
110, 84 in 56 games, 110, 105.
It's
Like,
crazy. He's a
and
power play merchant. Like, he's insane on that.
and he does not miss games either. I forget what injury he had in the playoffs. Like they were
Broken
scared.
legs.
They were scared he was going to miss a game, but he was right back out there plugging along. So I would have loved Leon Draisaitl as an option,
It
but
would have been fun. I would have been stoked, but I'm also like, maybe this was for the best.
I also feel like having someone like him go to market would give us an idea of like, okay, is he considering the Flyers? Or the Flyers considering him? Like
Oh boy.
what type of what's the word I'm trying to look for here? Like suitors will the Flyers have,
Oh,
or will
will Draisaitl have?
yeah, or
Yeah.
Drysdale to have, yeah, or like will free agents want to come to
Hmm.
Philadelphia? Like we've seen players come here and then want to stay here, like Sealer and Hathaway, but we haven't seen
Eric Johnson.
or,
He wanted to stay.
yeah, but he's friends with Danny Briere, so it's easy enough for him. But yeah, you want to see that top free agent.
Oh, that's right. They did play together. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
1 year, I think, right? Just a
Yeah,
season.
I think it was Briere's last year. I think Briere's
It
last year
was
was in
in
Colorado.
Colorado.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's weird to think about him as in an
As an
Avalanche jersey.
Av.
Yeah,
That's so fun. It's gonna be weird to think of Cam Atkinson as a Lightning. That's crazy.
I mean, it won't be when he puts up 20 goals on that third line and or second line and top power play in it. Like
Power play. Oh, I think he'll be on power play too. Maybe they put him back on the PK. He's really good at the
they
shorties.
could, yeah, they could,
It could be spicy.
yeah. But
Um, before we
speaking of,
went on that tangent, I interrupted you. What were you gonna say?
oh, I was gonna say something I was thinking about the past few days, and I'm sure this has been talked about and written off and stuff, but
Hmm.
I want to see the Flyers try Tyson Foerster as at center. Maybe he's not great at faceoffs. Maybe you put him on a
Ooh.
line with like Scott Lawton as his wing and have Lawton take some faceoffs for him. But I don't know if that would be the Flyers showing some like desperation that like, okay, we don't have enough centers. We want to move one of our best young wingers there. But given the Flyers' depth at wing and lack of depth at center, like I feel like that's something they should at least explore in training camp, early in training camp, early in preseason. Not close to the season where you have to get chemistry and stuff on wing, but like
Hmm.
try him out, see what happens, and see if he can do that.
I mean, I'm down. I'm game. But I think it was Charlie O'Connor asked Torts like late last season, would you ever consider Tyson Foerster at center because you're so short at that position? And I think Torts was like, he's a winger. And like was pretty much like, you stupid idiots, why would I do that? So I wouldn't get my hopes up that Forrester will end up at center. Um he has the instincts though, like I could see it. I could see it, but
Yeah, it's a new season, and maybe they're like, okay, we're going to try things out now. He was a winger last year. We're not going to change his position in season.
they tried it with
Maybe,
Noah Cates and it worked for a while.
yeah, but Noah Cates doesn't have the ceiling that Tyson Forster does. I
Probably
don't
not.
think. And maybe they don't want to mess that up.
Yeah. Yeah. Let him play where he's comfortable and if
Hmm.
the moment arises. I want to see him on the power kill. Cause like last year, I think he had 2 power kill shifts and he scored a goal on one of them. Like he
I
has a
wonder.
100 shooting percentage on down a man, which is
Uh,
just hilarious to me. But I don't think they will. He's not fast enough to like
yeah,
skate it back, and the PK units are pretty locked in. Like it would take injuries to get someone on there. Like I'd like to see Farabee up there too, but I don't think he'd get time
it's
there.
possible. Konechny didn't kill penalties until very recently, and he's one of the best. He led the league in shorthanded goals last year.
I mean, their PK units, the first unit is Lawton, Konechny, and I think Sanheim, York. And then the second unit is Hathaway, Paling, and Sealer, and whoever, Risto,
So yeah,
Stahl.
whatever stay-at-home
Yeah,
defenseman
whatever
is
stay-at-home
playing there.
defenseman is there.
Yeah, and then
Um,
Coots plays
oh,
sometimes, or if
Coots,
they
yeah,
need a big draw, but yeah. So
yeah, and those seem to work pretty damn good. So I don't know. It was Sean Walker. That was the other PKer for a while.
on marker, yeah.
Um, But yeah, I don't know. It would take some injuries or some trades to clear up a space where I think Foerster or even Farabee could get a shot on the penalty kill units.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens there. But speaking of a 1C, the Flyers may have drafted their 1C this past season.
Maybe
It was a polarizing draft pick. Not a lot of people liked it right away, including
I'll
us.
say.
But we've come to like it a little bit. Thomas Williams had a great video last week with David St. Louis, who did the video on Jet Luchenko for Elite Prospects. He said he would not, he said basically said Luchenko's going to start the season with the Flyers, right? No. He said he might get some time with the Flyers, likely late in the year after his shitty OHL Guelph Storm team ends their season.
Yep.
But what if he can? What if he comes into training camp, puts up like multiple points in a preseason game, is keeping up with everybody, can skate? We know he has the combine strength. Like the Flyers won't do that because it's just against everything that they're doing. But
they might. They did it with Andre last year.
But Andre could go down to the Phantoms, is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they could send him back to the OHL as long as he doesn't play 10 games.
Yeah, they could do that. I don't know. It would be exciting if he, shows up in training camp, shows up in the preseason, and looks like somebody who can play. Like I would start him on the line with like Tippett and someone else fast, see him fly out there and see what they can do.
Ooh, Mishkov? He's not fast, but it'd be a fun pairing. TK, honestly, TK Tippett and Luchenko, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
KLT.
The kilt line. Put on your kilts.
Oh man, I want to see Brink Luchenko Tippett so we can have the BLT line. But it's I don't know if there's chemistry there. Anywho, Jet, I don't think he's going to get games to start the season, but like you said, I do think he might get a few later in the year because Guelph is not good and will probably be finished early enough. And because they are not college hockey players, they can play in the NHL and return to their teams. They don't have to fully turn pro.
Yeah, that would be exciting to see at the end of the year, whether the Flyers are out of it and just want to see what he has.
Wait. I got a question. Do those games count for playoff games? I don't think they do.
I don't think playoff games count, no.
Right? Yeah. So if the Flyers get to the playoffs and they have Luchenko going in a Cale Makar style run, oh baby.
That would be exciting. Yeah, but I think much more realistically, next training camp, we see him pushing for his spot. And obviously it depends on what the Flyers do this coming year, what they do next off season, if they're in a place where they're trying to take that next step. But I think no matter what, next training camp, you're going to have Luchenko pushing, you're going to have Bonk pushing even more, and maybe some wild card we're not even thinking about. Hunter McDonald, maybe, definitely, like all these top-notch prospects.
Oh, he's pushing for this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hunter McDonald, Cam York. There's a stay-at-home defenseman you need.
There you go. But isn't McDonald a left shot? I think he's a left defenseman.
Oh, he might be.
I think he is. So
I don't know
one
why
of them
I thought
would
he
have
was
to
right.
Look, I know Cam York says he doesn't like playing the right side, but he put up the best points totals of his career when he played the offside opposite Ivan Provorov for the season. Like, buddy, I know you don't want to play on that side, but guess what? Your offense was way better when you did it. It's the same thing that happened to Travis Sanheim last season.
Keep him on the left side. He's more comfortable there. He's still, how old is he? Still 22, 23.
23.
Like, yeah. Well, no, he's not on the under 23 ranking, so he must be 23 going on 24, but
he's 23 now. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Corey Pronman released his,
speaking of 23,
under 23 best prospects. I believe that was today. He released that there.
The full list. Yes.
The full list.
The team rankings came out last week.
Yes. Yeah. So highest flyer is obviously going to be Matt Michkov at 7,
where we drafted him.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect.
7, lucky number 7. And then you
got needs to switch his jersey to number 7. Just makes sense.
7's retired, I think.
7 is retired, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Dang.
Then you got Jamie Draisaitl down at 60, who is ahead of Cutter Gauthier at 65. Just want to note
Suck
that.
it.
You got Bonk at 70. Luchenko at 84, Tyson Foerster at 125 there. Some
Yeah.
other kind of noteworthy guys here on the list. Zeev Buium, 16.
Oh God, you should have put a trigger warning before that one, man. Like there are Flyers fans that are just like having conniptions over the fact that Buium is like a top 20 prospect and the guy we picked is 84.
I mean, 10 other teams passed on him. I think I'm convinced now the Flyers passed on him because of his agent.
11.
I think.
10 actually. Let's be real. Macklin Celebrini was always going first, so 10 other teams passed.
Sure. I also saw Carter Yakimchuk is like 10. And
Real
Levshunov, 8. Yeah, Silyev, 11. Like there were a bunch of guys from this year's draft, but Demidov, 17. So suck it, Habs fans.
Yeah, suck it, Habs fans. I don't think about you at all.
No. Marco Rossi, who is, could be on the Flyers radar at 41. I thought that was kind of high there. I thought it was higher than his ceiling.
Pronman has a type, and they are big, burly, beefy boys. And guess what? Marco Rossi ain't that type. Guess what? Jet Luchenko kind of ain't that type.
Rossi was the top of tier 6, which is bubble top and middle of the lineup player. And you have Perreault at 52, who the Flyers passed on for Bonk, obviously. Yep. Askarov at 55. Consta Helenius at 58.
Right.
And that's all the non-Flyers I have listed here. But just going through that list, there's so many like current NHL players on this list that I don't realize are so young and so good. So it's interesting to see.
It is crazy. It's also worth pointing out that, like, there's Draisaitl is ranked at 60 and Cutter's at 65. Oh, he's 5 better. Let's go. Pronman also breaks these down into tiers, and the differentiation within those tiers can be quite small.
Mm-hmm.
Like a player ranked at 60 and a player ranked at 65, it's not like it's some massive gap in talent and projection. They're basically like right on level with each other in a sense.
That's tier 6 there. That's from 41 Rossi down to 77. So like there's
77.
Like, Rossi's there, Draisaitel's there, Bonk's in that tier. Like it's
right.
What does he have it called? He has bubble top and middle of the lineup player. So top 6, middle 6 type guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Luchenko is early in the tier 7, which is, as Pronman describes it, middle of the lineup. But again, he has very specific player types that he gravitates towards, and Luchenko doesn't really fit that profile. I don't know why. He's never really had a thing for Tyson Foerster.
No, he hates him. He
really doesn't. He upgraded his skating finally. For years, Pronman ranked it as poor. Now it's just below average.
Yeah, I mean, I think Foerster will take a big step up this year in his rankings for next year. So will Luchenko, I believe. Like, I think the Flyers definitely have prospects that are on the rise, even even if their overall pipeline ranking may not show that.
This wasn't their pipeline, though.
No,
this was the under 23 ranking.
Yeah. So that's where they're at. But yeah, in the pipeline rankings, the Flyers rank 13th in Corey Pronman's
under 23. Rankings. It's an important distinction here.
Under 23, yes.
Yes.
We do have a few 24 or even 23 going on 24 and 25-year-olds that we are going through on our top 25 under 25.
Broad Street Hockey.
BroadStreetHockey.com. Like and subscribe.
Make sure the other reason it's important to differentiate here is that Scott Wheeler, also at The Athletic, does rankings too, but his rankings are prospect pipelines. So there's very specific criteria. For example, Pronman ranked Foerster, Draisaitl, and Wheeler does not, because they have played too much in the NHL to qualify for his prospect pipeline ranking. So that's where this differentiation is.
And that was also from January midseason, so it doesn't have Luchenko
before the draft.
Doesn't have any of the draft guys. Yeah,
and we were at number 6 on that. The Flyers were number 6 on the Wheeler ranking, and that was before the draft. So I bet they're still top 10 in his esteem. But he doesn't really care for Luchenko either. But sorry, Flyers fans.
No one does. He's going to prove them
No
all
one
wrong.
does.
He's going to prove them all wrong.
Hey, I've said it before. I think we should measure his counting stats this season versus the 2025 draft eligibles because he's so close to them in age, right? He was 3 weeks away from being eligible in this next draft. So he's real young. He's like one of the youngest players that was in this draft. So I'm going to be looking to see how he stacks up this season against the 2025 draft eligibles and consider where he might have gone in a 2025 draft. So
yeah, and with Luchenko, as we point out time and time again, he's playing on a pretty bad Guelph
shit
Storm
team.
team. Yeah, maybe we'll see him get traded somewhere if the Flyers can pull some strings there. But yeah, I mean he's going to be their top line center, so he'll get plenty of playing time. Hopefully he can work on his game and not just kind of skate by there.
Yep, and maybe Team Canada.
Yeah, hopefully make the World Juniors exciting because Bonk will be there. Maybe get Bonk there, maybe get Barkey there, get all the Flyers prospects.
I'm into it. It would be fun.
Yeah. EP also has different rankings for the pipelines. They are to number 11 by now or so.
They're on
They have
10.
They're
I
on
think
10.
today was 10, which was the Seattle Kraken.
Okay, and the Flyers are still not there. So that's
still not up. They're a top 10.
That's interesting. Yeah, I wonder where the Flyers are going to be in that. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. I mean, Prominent has them 13, Wheeler has them 6, so probably somewhere in the middle, 8 or 9 would be my guess.
Yeah. And again, all of these
number
scouts,
9 is Calgary, so top 8.
Oh baby,
top 8.
Let's roll. Yeah, you guys all got to remember that like each scout has different things that they value in prospects. Promin and Wheeler, they are just the one person who's doing that. EP has like a group of scouts and kind of has a collective approach. They collaborate on how they bring together these rankings. So they get a bit more consensus input from everyone who's working there. So it's less, we don't want to put too much weight on prospect rankings, especially when they're coming from one person at a time, because that's just that one person's opinion. I like the EP approach because you get that collaborative, collective assessment from just multiple voices.
And it's important to remember and kind of question, like, how much do these prospect rankings actually matter? Like, I saw Charlie talking about it today, how like Flyers fans are very high on the Hextall prospects, and they should have panned out, but they didn't. And like now the Flyers fans are getting kind of, PTSD from that. So like, yeah, I mean, you see it more in baseball where like teams want to hold on to their prospects. I really think prospect rankings only matter if you're looking to trade your prospect or trade for a prospect. I think within an organization where the prospect ranks could vary drastically compared to, one national scout or even EP who has like a group room. Like there's a bunch of different things to go by. There's a bunch of different things, and prospects don't always pan out, and sometimes there's some diamonds in the rough. So don't. It's I don't know. We've just been discussing prospects like for 2 months now since the draft. We have real hockey coming soon, but like
it's a rebuild. That's prospects are hope. It's an important part of the process. Trust the process, as any good Philadelphian will tell you.
Yes.
And just to add to that, like we, the public, do not know these prospects like the teams do, like on a personal level. Like they actually meet and speak and interact with them. I am sure the scouts do too, just to get a sense of like who they are as people, what kind of teammate they might be, what their thoughts are on like the organization or like how they envision themselves, that kind of stuff. We don't get any of that as the public. So like you said, organizations have their own rankings because they probably skew towards guys they talk to and are like, oh, that seems like a nice young man. And then, give him a little bit of a little bump in their rankings.
Yeah, everyone loves ranking. Everyone loves to read a ranking. That's why we do our top 25 under 25.
For that one.
It's
Thanks for that one.
A lot
BuzzFeed.
of a lot of bait. Like a lot of you see these power rankings come out now, and engagement bait or whatever. But yeah, it's it gets conversation going. So that's what it's all about.
Oh, thanks BuzzFeed for the listicle. Just we all love a list. Things are nice. Things are fun when they're in order.
Yes, we love comparing things, definitely. Rankings and rumors. You could just start a website,
Oh,
rankings and
boy.
rumors, and just rake in the clicks.
R&R,
R&R. There you go.
not rest and relaxation. Rankings and
No.
rumors. The least restful thing imaginable.
Mhm. All right. Anything else here you want to touch on before we close this out?
I don't think so. But just to go back to the 25 under 25, we released number 6 today, so we're in the home stretch with the top 5 tomorrow. Which means our number 1 will be out next Monday, and we'll be able to reveal all. Although I think at this point the top 5 should be pretty obvious if you've been paying attention, because there's like 5 conspicuous absences.
Yeah, we still got to see what order they're in. I'm looking at all of our ballots now to see if me and you have any drastic changes. I had Bonk at 4. You had Bonk at 7. That's not really a huge difference.
I made a comment on one of the articles at one point about, like, someone pointed out that around 10 or 11, all of us voters suddenly had consensus. Like, we were all within like 2 or 3 spots of each other when ranking the prospects. And I commented that once we hit the top 10, like from prospect number 10 or 11, I think it was Bobby Brink, to the next prospect, there was a massive gap between their talent level. So from like 12 to 25, we were all over the place. We all had like our favorites that we picked and choose, you know.
Yeah.
But once you hit the top 10, top 11 or 12, the talent becomes so obvious that all of us suddenly snap into focus, because we might have minor discrepancies. Like you said with Bonk, you had him at 4 and I had him at 7, but both of us clearly understood, like, yeah, he's one of the 10 best prospects in this organization.
Yeah, and these are players. There's pretty much consensus, because these are players we've either seen or have heard a lot about and seen the highlights of. Like they played in the NHL, or it's Bonk, or it's Michkov. Like they're players that we're excited about, just based off seeing highlights or watching in terms of Urson, Brink, Foerster, like those guys.
In the case of Luchenko, it's pedigree. Like, we don't know that much about him yet because we haven't watched too much, but he was a top half of the first round pick. He was the 13th overall pick. So that kind of pedigree automatically boosts a few players a bit higher in the rankings.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be number 1, Gilbs?
It's not a unanimous Michkov, which I think is
not. There was one. I think there was one voter who did not, or was it 2? You have it in front of you, right?
I think it may have been 2. Let me pull that back up. No, it's 1. There's one. There's one person who refuses to rank a player 1 until they play NHL games.
I can respect that. I mean,
and the person that person ranked 1 also went to a interesting college. If you can catch my drift.
Was it Michigan by chance?
Oh, I think it was a northern state up there. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. No, who could forget the great Kelly Hinkle vote of last year, where she had number 1 Owen Tippett and Matvei Michkov was like number 3 or something.
I mean, Tippett Tippett clearly wasn't number 1, but she kind of proved her right with how well Tippett played last year. Yeah,
it was a great season. I'm so stoked to see him. His red hair flying around. I hope he never cuts it. I hope he grows it out real long so that it like flows out behind him, like when he gets going.
Yeah.
But any other closing thoughts on your end?
No, I feel like this was a good show. It flowed really easily. I was kind of worried about what we're going to talk about, but our tangents helped. Our tangents definitely helped the show.
Oh, we are full of tangents. Full of tangents. Oh, I did think of one thing. I am slowly converting the entirety of Broad Street Hockey to karaoke nights, because our friend of the pod, Ryan Quigley over at Flyperbole, I dragged his ass out to a karaoke night on a Sunday, same place that I dragged Gilbs a couple months ago. So slowly but surely, let us know on Twitter. What's your go-to karaoke song? There's our question of the day. What's your go-to karaoke song?
Question of the day, perfect. Reply with that. Yeah, it looked like you guys were having a blast there. So I'm glad you guys got out.
There was no theme that night, so we got to just kind of
free for all.
Beautiful. Yeah. Next time we'll have to get both of the Ryans in the same room at the same time.
Yeah, that would be a Ryanception there.
Oh, but Ryan squared.
Ryan squared, yes.
Love it.
All right. Make sure you're subscribed to the Broad Street Hockey Podcast, Apple, Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Subscribe on YouTube as well. I'm going to really start picking up the video content with training camp coming, games and whatnot. So make sure you are subscribed there. Shout out Bet Online, sponsoring us there. And Joe, where can people find you?
You lovely folks can find me at JF DeMarini on Twitter. Gilbs, how about you? Where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
No way.
Oh, yes way.
Yes way.
Yes way. All right, getting off the rails here. Until next time, thanks for listening.
Go Flyers.